Here we go.
Well guys, I have finally completed Luigi's Mansion 3, and now that I've finally completed the game, we can look at the bosses all in a grand scheme of things, and we can look and see which boss was the greatest in Luigi's Mansion 3. I have put on the list all 17 of the boss fights from the game, with the exceptions of Polterkitty and Boolossus from the Scarescraper mode. Now before we get started, go ahead and make your predictions down in the comments below on who you think will win. And guys, like always, please feel free to like the video to help it to grow, and please subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. We are just 1,000 subscribers away from the grand 50,000 subs that we have been trying to reach. I can't thank you guys enough, and thank you for each and every one of you guys supporting the channel each and every day. And without further ado, let's get into the list. Starting off our list at number 17, of course, we have the first boss in the game, Steward. He's pretty much the bellhop, and he's in the basement getting all the luggages put away and, you know, organized and nice and neat and stuff, and then Luigi comes and wrecks it all. So this boss is kind of like the tutorial boss in the game. He teaches you that you can't just stun any ghost, you actually have to do cool mechanics and puzzle works in order to get the kill. And here you have to wait for him to throw the luggage and then shine him in order to capture him. He's relatively very easy, but he's a nice boss to start the game off with. Cambria is actually the housemaid, and she ends up eating Egad's suitcase to hide it from Luigi, and it goes straight to her thighs.
My thighs?
You'll have to chase her from room to room on a good old-fashioned ghost chase, but you can't really suck her up the classic way. You have to shoot a plunger at the suitcase and slam her across the room back and forth until she is completely depleted of life. It's another great starter boss, nevertheless. Next up, we have Chef Soleil. Yes, it's the next in the actual chronological order, that's just how everything is going right now. But this guy is incredibly easy. All you have to do is suck up the smoke from his food and take his frying pan from him by either snatching it with the plunger or throwing fruit and vegetables at it laying around the room. Now, the Morty boss fight is kind of a weird one to put on this list because you're not actually sucking up him. Well, not yet anyways, and I'll get to that in a second. You're really just part of his movie, taking down a regular ghost inside of a giant costume, so it's really a boss fight against a normal enemy. But regardless, I did count it because it was kind of creative. It was incredibly easy, but it was creative on its part. The fact that we saw it at E3's demo kind of ruined it for me, but the fact that you can come back later on and see the movie that you made and then have the option to suck him up was pretty cool in my eyes.
Oh boy, phew. Oh yeah.
Dr. Potter was one that I really could not wrap my mind around. It just really wasn't a good boss fight to me, and it was kind of clunky and just confusing. So pretty much he has this Venus flytrap in his hand, and it tries to attack Luigi. And I guess your goal is to make it attack these flowers around the room, and then he'll start chewing on them, I guess. But I could not get it to work for the love of me. It took forever, and it felt more like luck when it did it. And all you do is grab the chainsaw and start chopping away at its vine, and then you can start hitting the ghost. And this was just boring to me. I thought that using this chainsaw was one of the coolest aspects in the game. They could have done so much more with this boss fight. Maybe even make the tree a boss or something. I don't know. This was just weak to me. Then we get to Clem, because the boss fight was at least a little bit better. At least I actually did something in this fight, but it's terrible. It's terrible. Clem is this ghost that is a mechanic, and he is sitting on this raft in this giant body of water, and you have to get on your raft as well and use these terrible clunky mechanics with your poltergust and push yourself and blow yourself towards him and the water, and it's terrible. It absolutely sucks. You have to knock him into spikes, popping his raft, getting out of your raft, go all the way to the top, and then start sucking him up, and repeat this 2 more times. But if he pops you have to re-blow up your raft, throw it in the water, jump in the water, and continue onward as he tries to smack you with a fan. No, I'm not a fan. And before we get to our final top 10, we have DJ Phantasmagoria. She is a DJ, obviously, and she makes these ghosts dance as they try to attack you and hide the next button on the elevator. And this is absolutely dumb the way you actually have to defeat these guys and her. They could have came up with a cool pattern, maybe rhythm-based attack that you had to accomplish, or maybe Luigi had to dance in some way, but all you do is walk up to the ghost that you think it is near, or just even in the vicinity, and use your gust with the vacuum, and it will knock everybody near you away, which means you probably won't have a hard problem trying to find this switch. And the same with her. All you do is flip over all her CDs and make a gust of wind knock her wig off, and then you just attack her. It's pretty simple, and I wish they would have done more with this one. Number 10, we have Crueler. He's pretty much the essential mall cop of this game. He is Paul Blart in the ghost form, and he is here to be pretty much afraid of everything. He's afraid of the mice, he's afraid of Luigi himself. He tries to be cool, put on his shades, and fight, but the boss fight isn't that fun. It's okay, it's decent, but you play as Luigi. You have to go through the gate and try to attack him by sucking off his sunglasses and then attacking himself. But watch out for his water gun, because if he squirts you, Luigi will die. But you could just come back anytime. So it's really not that hard of a boss fight. I just picked him higher on this list just because he's fun to fight. He has a good personality, and he really makes the game a lot more lighthearted. Number 9, Johnny Deepin. This guy is actually really weird how he's one of the later bosses in the game, considering the fact he only has 60 health. But it's really simple to beat him once you figure out what to do. You pick up one of his volleyballs he throws at you and throw it at him right before he throws another one and knock him into the pool unconscious. While he's unconscious, have Luigi go around the side of the pool and turn down the water, which will in turn get him stuck into the drain, and then you can tackle him from there. It's not really a difficult boss whatsoever, and I'm still confused why he only has 60 health, but it was kind of unique and fun compared to the rest. Coming in at number 8, we have King McBride, and this guy actually has a unique battle since he puts you in the middle of a Coliseum-based room with a whole bunch of paper ghosts looking at you. So what you have to do is pretty much flash his face as he's charging at you, and then he'll duck down in his armor, which you can then in turn swing around and slam on the ground and break it off piece by piece, which I thought was pretty cool for a boss fight. It was really fun, but really easy, but once again, it was one of the very first bosses you came against in the game, and it did good for that and that only. Number 7, Helen Gravely. This one hurts to put so low on the list, but as the main antagonist of the hotel, this one really hurt that it was so bland. All you pretty much do is have Luigi move underneath the room and turn off the lasers from the machine, and then she just tries to hit Luigi with a mirror. Yes, a mirror. And all you do is flash her, and then you just take turns with Luigi and Luigi accessing this battle. And it was just very weak to me. I felt they could do so much. She's the owner of the hotel, for crying out loud, so she should have had something better planned up her sleeves, but apparently all she had was a mirror. Number 6, King Boo. Yes, we move on to the main antagonist once again, being King Boo, and he just is not that good. Dark Moon, I felt like he had a pretty good outing where he chased you through the hotel, but this time he does nothing but duplicate himself and repeat multiple attacks where he drops from the sky, maybe tries to hit you with his tongue, and throws fireballs at you that are extremely slow, might I add. Now, he does technically have a phase 2, but even that is pretty much the same. He just duplicates himself into 3 copies, and the giant picture frame in the background is more just threatening than anything. It adds a time limit for you to hurry up, but that's pretty much the general gist. You pretty much have to pick up bombs and shoot them in his mouth, and also drag his tongue around in order to slam him. The slam animation is pretty cool, but besides that, this is kind of a mediocre final boss fight. Number 5, we have the magician triplets, Nikki, Lindsay, and Jenny. These girls are actually a lot of fun to battle. After you take down the first one, it gets really difficult because the third will be replaced with a bomb this time. And if you pick the wrong hat by the end, where it's time for you to attack, you will get hurt. And it's a lot of fun when you get to the last one and 2 of the hats are bombs, and it can actually get really difficult to remember which one's which. Number 4, Serpsy. Serpsy is a pharaoh ghost that uses sand for her attacks, and it's actually kind of creepy because she creates a giant sand head, and it follows after Luigi. Your job is to suck all the sand off until it collapses, and then you actually get to defeat her. Her head can form all kinds of amazing things with the sand, including a ball that creates shockwaves, hands and that can actually punch Luigi, and she actually has snakes that come out of her head like Medusa. Once you get rid of the head, you only have a couple of sand serpents left to defeat, and then you can attack her herself. Number 3, Uugh. Uugh is not even himself the first part of the battle because in fact he has possessed the skeletal remains of a T-Rex and he tries to eat Luigi. Your job is to shoot him with pieces of his own body and dinosaur eggs in order to break him. He has like 3 different phases where first he's tied down to a bar, and he breaks out of the bar for phase 2 and starts chasing you around the room, which then you have to hit him with his own bones. And in phase 3, he jumps out of the dinosaur and starts trying to attack you with his giant club, which is really funny. When you suck him up, his own club hits him in the head. This is a really fun, clever boss fight that reminds me a lot of Night at the Museum. Now the final 2 were really close, but I had to go with Captain Fishhook being number 2. It is this giant ghost shark that possesses the ship. His first phase is actually a small piece of the ship that moves around the deck, and you have to shoot a bomb barrel into his mouth. But phase 2 is where he cranks it up a notch, where he goes into the entirety of the ship, and he is now faced on the back wall, and he tries to eat you. You'll have to use your plunger to stick onto the top mast of the ship and dangle for your life. It is an amazing scene and a great part of the boss battle, but you still have to shoot the barrels into his mouth, and then you can finally attack Fishhook, which is a lot of fun. He tries to hit you with his little fishhook on his hand, and even Luigi has fun by reeling him in like a real-life shark. Number 1, Amadeus Wolf, guys. This boss was insanely amazing to me. It is one of the earlier ones you actually fight, which is just so impressive that it beat all the others on my list. The way you fight this guy is set upon many different sequences, and it's a lot of fun. As soon as you get into the theater, he's throwing chairs at you in the very first phase, and then he starts playing some classical music where he tosses some ghosts and some other small things at you. But then he gets angry and jumps into the actual piano and starts trying to slam you with the piano. He also has a move where he'll flash open the door and try to hit you, but you have to flash him and knock him back into the piano. He will then proceed to go onto the stage and shoot out bombs all into the crowd. You have to grab a bomb, bank shot it into the piano, and then use your suction to slam the piano off the stage and smash it on the ground, revealing Wolf Guys himself. And then you go on to suck him up, and you have to repeat this a total of 3 times. This boss is one of the greatest boss battles I've fought in a very long time. This goes to show you that even the very beginning of bosses can be some of the greatest in the game. And this was my top 17 ghosts in Luigi's Mansion 3.